The courthouse steps turned into a battlefield when Remy Ma, already under intense media scrutiny, found herself face to face with a ghost from her past. What started as a tense exchange between two grieving families exploded into chaos that no one saw coming. Cameras were already rolling when the victim's daughter approached Remy's son, shouting accusations that reignited old wounds tied to Remy's violent past. But what happened next stunned everyone. She spat on him. In that split second, years of restraint shattered, and Remy Ma lost control right in front of the flashing cameras, screaming fans, and the entire media circus. Witnesses described the scene as something straight out of a movie. The crowd gasped as Remy lunged forward, pushing through security as her son tried desperately to hold her back. The victim's daughter stumbled, but before anyone could intervene, the two were locked in a vicious scuffle, wigs flying, screams echoing through the courthouse plaza. Within seconds, officers rushed in, dragging Remy away as she shouted, "Don't touch my son." The video spread online like wildfire. Millions watched, debated, and dissected every second of the fight. Was Remy defending her son? Or had she just destroyed her last chance at redemption? What followed would ignite outrage, heartbreak, and a new round of legal chaos that could end her career for good. Because this wasn't just a brawl, this was personal. And the world was watching every move. The courthouse was surrounded by flashing lights, reporters and fans shouting questions as Remy Ma walked up the steps with her son by her side. It was supposed to be just another hearing, a procedural update in a long, exhausting legal battle that had already drained her emotionally. But the tension in the air was heavy. Everyone knew this case had reopened wounds from a violent past. Remy had been trying for years to move beyond. She was dressed simply, all black, her hair tied back, her face guarded but calm. Her son walked a few feet ahead, keeping his head down as the cameras followed every move. Just as they reached the courthouse entrance, a commotion broke out near the barricades. A woman's voice cut through the noise, sharp, emotional, trembling with anger. "You took my mother from me. You ruined our lives." The voice belonged to the daughter of the woman who'd been the victim in Remy's original shooting case years ago. She had been silent throughout most of the legal proceedings, but today she showed up ready to unleash years of bottled pain. Remy froze mid-step. Her son looked back, confusion written all over his face as the crowd began to record. The woman pushed through the officers holding the line, pointing directly at Remy's son. "He shouldn't even be here. He's just like you," she screamed. Remy's son tried to walk away, refusing to engage. But before he could step back, the woman spat in his face. Gasps rippled through the crowd and cameras zoomed in instantly. For a split second, everything went silent. Remy's expression shifted from shock to pure rage. She dropped her purse, tore away from her security, and stormed toward the woman, shouting, "Don't you ever touch my child." The chaos erupted in an instant. Reporters screamed, fans scrambled for cover, and officers tried to block Remy's path, but she shoved through them like a storm. The victim's daughter tried to stand her ground, but Remy lunged forward, grabbing her by the arm as the two stumbled into a crowd of onlookers. Screams filled the air as phones went up, capturing every second of what would soon become one of the most shocking viral moments of CLE. Remy Ma's career. Security tackled both women to the ground. Remy's son was yelling, "Mom, stop," while trying to pull her back. The victim's daughter was crying, shouting that she'd been attacked. The entire scene unfolded right in front of dozens of reporters, cameras clicking, mics extended, and chaos exploding in every direction. Within minutes, Remy was escorted inside the courthouse as chants broke out outside. Some fans screamed her name, defending her for protecting her son, while others condemned her for letting her anger take control again. Social media lit up within seconds. Hashtags like #RemyMaFight and #CourthouseBrawl started trending, and clips from multiple angles flooded TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Inside the courthouse, Remy sat in a holding room, breathing heavily, her hands shaking. Her son sat across from her, wiping the spit from his face, visibly shaken. "I didn't want to fight, Ma," he said quietly. I was just trying to ignore her. Remy looked at him with tears in her eyes. Nobody puts their hands on my family, she whispered, her voice trembling with fury and pain. Little did they know, the incident outside wasn't just going to cause a viral storm. It was about to trigger legal consequences that could send Remy right back into the nightmare she'd spent years escaping. The courthouse fight had changed everything. And the world was already picking sides before the hearing had even begun. The courthouse lobby was thick with whispers. Reporters gathered in clusters, exchanging footage. Editors calling out from behind cameras and producers rushing to get live updates to their networks. Within just 15 minutes, the altercation outside had become breaking news across every platform. Remy Ma's name was back in the headlines. Not for music, not for redemption, but for violence. Meanwhile, inside a secure room, Remy sat with her attorney, still visibly shaken. Her son sat quietly beside her, trying to process everything that had just happened. The officer who'd broken up the fight entered the room, clipboard in hand, and said, "They want to press charges." Remy's head snapped up, her voice sharp with disbelief. "She spat on my child," she said, "and I'm the one in trouble." Her attorney leaned forward, lowering his voice. "Remy, listen to me carefully. The cameras caught everything, but depending on the angle, it might look like you attacked first. We need to be careful about what you say." Remy buried her face in her hands, frustrated. "I didn't go out there looking for trouble. I just wanted to protect my son." Her lawyer nodded, but replied, "Intent won't matter if the footage goes viral the wrong way." Outside, the courthouse plaza had turned into a media circus. Protesters, fans, and curious onlookers filled the area. Some held signs that read "Free Remy," while others shouted "Justice for the victim's family." Police presence doubled as tensions threatened to spill into another confrontation by afternoon. The video had already hit over 2 million views. News outlets ran the footage on repeat, zooming in on the exact moment the victim's daughter spat on Remy's son. Then cutting to Remy lunging forward in fury. The commentary was divided. Some called her a mother defending her child. Others said she was proving she hadn't changed at all. Back at home, Papoose was pacing the living room, his phone glued to his ear. "What you mean, they detaining her again?" he shouted. "This ain't right. Y'all saw what that girl did?" His frustration was boiling over as friends and family called nonstop, asking for updates. His phone buzzed again. It was Fat Joe. "Pap," Joe said firmly, "you gotta calm down. We all seen the video. I'm already talking to a few people who can help. But right now, we can't make this worse." Remy's son sat silently, scrolling through his phone, watching comment after comment roll in. Remy should have kept her cool. That girl deserved it for spitting. This is why Remy stays in trouble. The world had already turned the fight into entertainment, dissecting every frame, forgetting that behind it were real people, a grieving daughter and a mother trying to protect her child. Later that evening, Remy was released pending investigation. Cameras swarmed her as she exited the courthouse, surrounded by her team. Microphones shot toward her face. "Remy, do you regret what happened?" One reporter shouted. "Was it self-defense?" Another asked. She paused for a moment, her jaw tightening. "Y'all saw what happened?" she said coldly, before getting into her car. That single line, "Y'all saw what happened," became the most replayed quote of the night. It was raw, unapologetic, and filled with a mix of anger and heartbreak. Every gossip site, every blog, and every entertainment channel used it as a headline. Meanwhile, the victim's daughter was at the hospital being treated for minor injuries, her attorney already preparing to press charges. Behind the scenes, Remy's team was in damage control mode. Her PR manager advised her to stay off social media. "Anything you post can be twisted," she warned. But Remy couldn't sit in silence. That night, she posted a single message to her story. "You come for my child. You cross a line I'll never let anyone cross." The internet erupted. Some fans rallied behind her. That's a real mother right there. While others said she had just thrown away years of progress in one impulsive move. As the night went on, even celebrities began to weigh in. Cardi B commented, "I get it. When it's your kid, you see red." Nicki Minaj's camp, on the other hand, posted a cryptic message. "Anger always exposes truth. Anger always exposes truth." The next morning, Remy woke up to news that the DA's office was officially reviewing the footage for possible assault charges. Her stomach dropped. She turned to her son and said quietly, "I don't regret defending you, but I'm scared they're going to use this to destroy me." He reached for her hand and said, "You've already been through worse. Ma, you'll get through this too." But deep down, Remy knew this wasn't like before. This time it wasn't the streets or jealousy or beef. It was her own emotions that had dragged her back into the fire. And now the world was watching to see if she could survive it again the following week. The tension surrounding Remy Ma's case reached a boiling point. News outlets couldn't get enough of the courthouse footage, dissecting every movement, every scream, every frame that captured the chaos. The clip of the victim's daughter spitting on Remy's son became the moment that divided. Public opinion, half of social media sided with Remy, calling her a mother defending her child, while the other half said she'd let her temper destroy her reputation once again. Remy stayed home for days, avoiding cameras and interviews. Papoose tried to keep the house calm, but the pressure outside was growing. The media vans camped outside their gate day and night, shouting questions every time anyone came or went. Her son barely slept, scrolling through comments filled with both sympathy and hate. "They don't even care what she did," he said bitterly. "All they want to see is you lose." Remy exhaled deeply, staring out the window. "I did lose," she whispered. "Every time I try to move forward, they drag me back to my worst mistake." She wasn't just fighting public opinion now. She was fighting herself, her image, and a system that had never truly forgiven her. When her lawyer called that afternoon, the news wasn't good. "They've officially filed charges," he said grimly. "Assault and disorderly conduct. The video makes it complicated. They're calling it an unprovoked attack." Remy clenched her jaw, fighting back tears. "Unprovoked. She spat on my son," she said. "And that's not provocation." Her lawyer sighed. "We're working on it, Remy. But you know how this goes. It's not about what's fair. It's about what looks bad on camera." That night, Remy finally decided to speak out publicly. Sitting in her living room with dim lighting, she went live on Instagram. The comments exploded instantly, tens of thousands of viewers pouring in. Her voice was calm but heavy with emotion. "I'm not perfect," she began. "I've made mistakes. I've paid for them. But when you see someone spit on your child, I don't care who you are, you're gonna react." She paused, looking straight into the camera. "I spent years trying to be better, trying to live right. But the world keeps reminding me of who I used to be. I'm tired of proving I've changed. I'm human. I'm a mother. I did what any parent would do." Her words hit deep. Within minutes, fans flooded the chat with messages of support. Celebrities reposted her clip, calling her response powerful and real. Even people who had criticized her earlier began admitting they might have reacted the same way. But not everyone was sympathetic. The victim's family released a statement hours later, accusing Remy of manipulating the narrative and trying to paint herself as a victim. The feud between both sides reignited, sparking endless debates across talk shows and podcasts. Legal experts weighed in, saying the case could go either way depending on how the footage was interpreted in court. Remy's team began gathering witnesses who'd seen the spitting incident firsthand, hoping their testimonies would help her defense. Days turned into weeks, and the case consumed everything around her. She couldn't record, couldn't appear on shows, couldn't even go out in public without being swarmed by cameras. But through it all, her family stood by her. Papoose refused to let her spiral into guilt. "You're a mother first," he told her. "You did what you had to do." Finally, on the morning of the new hearing, Remy walked back into the same courthouse, the same steps where everything had gone wrong. This time, she kept her head high, ignoring the reporters. Inside, her attorney whispered, "Just let me do the talking today." As the judge entered and the hearing began, the room fell silent. The prosecution played the footage on a large screen showing the fight from multiple angles. Gasps filled the courtroom when the video clearly showed the victim's daughter spitting before Remy reacted. The judge watched intently, expression unreadable when it ended. Remy's lawyer stood and said, "Your Honor, this is not a woman attacking out of malice. This is a mother reacting to a vile, physical provocation against her son." The courtroom buzzed as murmurs spread. Even the opposing side looked uneasy. The judge didn't deliver a verdict that day, but made one thing clear. Given the evidence presented, the court acknowledges the complexity of this case. Emotions were high. Further review will be required before determining the next step. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed her again. This time, Remy didn't lash out. She simply said, "All I want is peace. I just want to protect my family." And for the first time in weeks, her voice didn't sound angry. It sounded tired, human, and heartbreakingly real. What happened outside that courthouse wasn't just a fight. It was the breaking point of years of pressure, judgment, and pain that never truly went away for Remy Ma. The world was quick to label her again, to call her the same person she used to be, but few stopped to see the raw emotion behind her reaction. She wasn't a celebrity that day. She was a mother. This case is far from over. And as new footage, statements, and witnesses continue to emerge, everything could still change. Will the court see the full truth, that she was provoked in protecting her child? Or will the media's narrative destroy her second chance at freedom and peace? Fans everywhere are watching, debating, and waiting for answers. But one thing is certain, Remy's story is a reminder of how quickly life can turn. How one moment of anger can redefine everything you've worked for. Stay tuned, because what happens next could reshape Remy Ma's legacy forever. And when the truth finally comes out, whether it clears her name or breaks her down again, the world will be there, watching every second. See, ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important info. Check important info.